Okay, so I was thinking about making a little video. For the past years, a couple of years, I should say, people have been asking me different things about guitars, and have noticed over the past 10 years on my YouTube channel that I have had a lot of different type of guitars. Um, just recently, the other day actually, someone asked me why I don't have, why I don't use Ibanez and Jackson and all these type of guitars. I used to have a lot of Ibanez guitars, and I had some other guitars, kind of like Jackson and Charvel and Charvet and that type of guitars back in the 90s and perhaps the early 2000s or so. I was a huge fan of those guitars back in the day actually, but I'm not anymore. The simple reason for that is actually, first of all, most of the Ibanez and Jackson guitars have some type of tremolo, and I simply hate tremolos. I would never ever consider buying a guitar with tremolo unless the guitar itself is really something way over the top that I really like about it. And the most of the Ibanez guitars and Jacksons and the similar guitars have the Floyd Rose tremolo, and it's just a big hassle to get around, kind of like it's a pain in the ass to just change the strings and all that kind of shit. I used to be a professional on changing strings and set up a Floyd tremolo actually, but I don't like it. I do not like to work with guitars that have Floyd Rose on them. Of course, if a customer comes if a customer approach me, ask me to do some work on her or his guitar, of course I will do it. But for me, no, there's no chance I'm going to get a guitar with a Floyd bridge on there. And when it comes specific to the Ibanez guitars and the Jackson and all these type of guitars, they are kind of like Stratocaster type in the body. I don't really like the Stratocaster shape very much. Um, I, of course I can. I would consider buying a Stratocaster shaped guitar if there was something special with the guitar. There's something over the top, so to speak. Kind of like the Strats that I already has, or have is maybe a better word. It's kind of like they are over the top, I believe. So they are okay. But I have never ever been a fan of these Floyd guitars, even though I have had several of them back in the days. I still have a couple of Floyd Rose guitars today, but I never uses them. I don't even know where they are actually. I put them away somewhere, I have no idea. So now the question, what do I like? Well, it's pretty obvious that I like guitars with a hardtail bridges. Hardtail. That means the bridge is mounted directly to the body with no tremolo, no nothing. And also I like the ABR1 type of bridges, kind of like the Gibson Les Paul type bridge, the Gibson Explorer type bridge. I also like the string through body type guitars, as long as it's not kind of like looking like an Ibanez or Jackson or Charvel or something like that, because it's the body shape isn't my style. It doesn't seem to it doesn't really seem to suit me very good when I'm playing those guitars. Um, if if I would choose a guitar today, I would say that I'm 100% um, Les Paul type of guy, and 100% explorer type of guitar guy actually, because these two models actually seem to suit me very good and seem to be perfect balanced, seems to be a perfect tone in the body of those guitars, especially the Epiphones and the Gibson ones. This type of guitar is actually something that seems to be working perfect for me. There has to be some type of it's kind of like think at it as love, okay? As if you love a woman, right, or well, whoever you're loving, when you have the feeling in your body that you love someone, you have a feeling that you want to be close to that person, and you want to share the rest of your life with that person, and it's pretty much the same with guitars. If you have a big passion for guitars, I will never ever swap my guitars for a girlfriend or anything like that. That will never ever happen. I mean, if someone tells me, if my girlfriend tells me, for example, that I have to choose in between the guitars and her, well, she knows exactly where the door is. That's for sure. So if you have a passion for guitars, it's pretty much not the same feeling, but it's kind of like a similar feeling when you're holding a guitar in your hand. You're feeling that this is 100% right. That's what I'm feeling with my Les Pauls, and that's what I'm feeling with my Explorers. Something else that is very strange, not strange, but for me, most of the Ibanez guitars, most of the Jacksons, most of the Charwells, and most of these types of guitars they have 24 frets. Even though there is a few Ibanezes and that kind of stuff with 22 frets, but most of them actually have 24 frets, and that's nothing for me. I simply hate guitars with 24 frets. I don't need 24 frets. I also hate guitars with 21 frets, because I need more than 21 frets. So all of my guitars, well, I'm not really sure, because I'm having a hard time to remembering all of my guitars in my head right now, but I think most of my guitars has 22 frets, and that seems to suit me very good. I'm talking about 22 frets and 628 millimeters scale. That's what I like the most, and that's the guitars I'm mostly looking for, because that's basically what seems to fit me very good. So that's a conclusion. That's a conclusion actually for when it comes to the guitars. When it comes to body material, it seems like mahogany is working very fine for me, even though some people are saying that it doesn't matter what wood the guitar is made out of, it doesn't matter, blah blah blah. Well, in one way I can also agree, but in another way I will not never ever agree, because what type of wood it is depending on when it comes to sustain, for example, that is very much depending on the guitar wood. I mean, if you have a very hard wood, for example, the sustain will be kind of like forever, kind of like a Les Paul, Gibson Les Paul, for example. They are usually made out of mahogany with a maple top on there. Maple is also a very hard wood, perhaps with a mahogany neck, and perhaps even better with a ebony fingerboard. The guitar is 100% made out of wood that is very hard. The sustain will last forever, I tell you that. So the guitar wood seems to be, for me, mostly mahogany actually. Mahogany, ebony fretboard is perfect for me. I like those type of guitars. So this is just a little video about this idea I have about why I'm not using Ibanez's anymore and all that kind of shit. Also, we have to, I have to think about that these Stratocaster type of guitars, it seems like they are very light compared to Explorer or maybe a Les Paul type. I like a guitar to be heavy, you know. I don't like these lighter guitars, kind of like a Stratocaster. It feels like it's a little bit too light for me. When I'm hanging a guitar over my shoulder, I want to feel that the heaviness of the guitar. It's kind of like hard to explain, but I like the idea of a guitar with some weight on there. Back in the days, back in the 90s, mostly 90s, early 2000s or so, I actually had a bunch of Ibanez guitars. RG 550, I have a couple of them. I used to have a couple of these models. One of them I actually bought brand new back in 1994, I think it was, 1995 maybe. And it was very expensive guitar, but I kind of like it was a good guitar. As I remember it, I would still like to have it today. Maybe not for playing so much, but for the for the feeling of having a guitar for most of your grown-up life, so to speak. I also have had a few Jackson guitars. I mean, we're talking here for the past 30 years. I probably have 200-300 guitars. I mean, when I was young, I used to buy and sell guitars every week pretty much. Because I didn't really have the money to just buy and stack up the guitars and just buy and buy all the time. So to get a new guitar, I usually had to sell what I had to get a new one. Today, that's not really the case. Today, I like to just buy the guitar and collect them, just because I have the possibility to do that. So that's why I'm doing that, right? So, but the fact is also today, it could happen that I'm selling a few guitars. But that's only guitars that I got from trades or anything like that. It can be guitars that I don't really like, guitars that I will probably never ever play or something like that. But I traded them in for something else, or maybe I bought a Gibson Les Paul and I got 2 other guitars for free, for example. In that case, I can actually sell those guitars. Most guitars that I have that I bought secondhand actually have some type of history behind them. All guitars has some type of history behind them, and that's very unique for all different types of guitars. I mean, when buying a used guitar, maybe that is 10 or 20 years old, that guitar has been through a lot, I tell you that. Some of the guitars maybe have traveled all around the world a couple of times. Some of the guitars maybe have been hiding in the closet for the past 10 years. All guitars that you buy in used condition actually have has a different type of history on them. If you're looking on the guitars, you can see some dings and scratches and all that kind of stuff that is very unique for every specific guitar. That is something that I value very much because that's a part of the history of the guitar. So I'm very passionate about guitars, even used guitars, because if I'm walking in a store like this, music store, and I see a 1996 Gibson Les Paul Studio, for example, I see it's in a pretty rough condition, but when I take it down from the wall and I get it in my hands, I can actually it's a feeling that I get, that I kind of like knowing what this guitar has been through just by holding it and looking on the dings and the scratches and everything. I can kind of like know what it's been through, and that is what I like very much about guitars. It sounds like I'm a total maniac or something, but I have a very, very, very big passion for guitars. So I'm talking about electric guitars, of course. So for me, a guitar isn't just something that you just, you know, kind of like messing around with and put it here and put it there. You know, the guitars that I don't use very often, they are in their hard case for storage somewhere, or the guitars that I'm actually using from time to time, they are hanging on the wall. So I don't just put guitars everywhere. So for me, guitars is something with a big I have a big passion for guitars, I must tell you that. And the history of the guitars is very important to me, because it's a part of the guitar itself. So once in a while, when I'm looking at my Gibson Explorer Government series, I get very, you know, kind of like passionate about the whole idea by holding it in my hand and thinking, wow, there's only 300 made of you. So I wonder where your brothers and sisters are. I mean, 300 in the whole world. I mean, maybe Europe got probably about, let's say, 100 of them in Europe. 100 of them in Asia somewhere, and maybe 100 of them in America, or maybe, well, I don't know. But you know, I'm thinking about these things when holding a guitar and looking at it, and I know it's kind of like rare or something like that. So my Gibson Explorer Government is a very rare guitar. You don't see them around very much. I see them on eBay for kind of like 2,000-3,000 euros nowadays. I actually saw a Gibson Explorer Government on eBay, I think it was 6 months ago. I think they charged 4,500 euros for that guitar. I mean, the prices are crazy. So that Explorer that I have is starting to get very valuable as well. So, and it's going to be very collectible in the future. So that is the guitars that I'm kind of like looking for, if I can find anything. And also today I know there is a Gibson Les Paul that is a limited edition as well. You can buy it brand new today, and it's not very expensive, and I want to get that guitar. Maybe not for playing it very much, but for the idea of owning one, because when they are sold out and gone, I believe you cannot get one actually, because this is also a limited edition. I'm not going to go through any details of what type of model it is or anything like that. I will do my very best to try to buy one of these guitars brand new, actually 2017 model. It's not a very cheap guitar, but I will try to do my very best, because I want to own one of these guitars, because it's going to be very collectible in the future, and hopefully very expensive in the future as well. So this is a little video about my thoughts about the guitars that I'm currently owning, guitars that I would like to buy and what I think about it, and the guitars that I've mostly been using in the past. So I hope this will answer a few questions that some of you that have been asking me about this over the past couple of years, that you have gotten the answers on your questions actually, because this is the thoughts I have about this, and that's actually why I'm not buying Ibanez guitars or Jackson guitars or Charvel guitars or Charvet or Cort or the older Yamaha, the Yamahas with the Floyd Rose type bridge on there. So now you know what's going on about this, and if you like the video, I would be very happy if you go ahead and click the subscribe button down below. So yeah, that's what it is. Take care now, and until next time, take care now. Bye bye then.